Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. Love lies in living rooms, when exes, moms, and mystery guests collide. Today on rSpace, sometimes love leaves a mess that's more about who's on your couch than who's in your bed. Up first, they say when one door closes, another opens. But what if that door just happens to be your ex's mom's house, and she's handing you the keys? Am I the a-hole for living with my ex's girlfriend's mom after we broke up? Ex cheated and her mom kicked her out and said I could stay. Hi, 22. My ex, 22 female, cheated on me. Her mom kicked her out. Her mom, 43 female, said I could live in the house forever if I wanted. Am I the a-hole if I stay? Sorry about the length and grammar. Here is some backstory. I met my ex, let's call her Lisa, so it's less intense for me. Writing ex is still a lot, you know? We met in high school. We started dating when we were 13. It was great. Her mother liked me, and I loved Lisa. She was funny, smart, and was gorgeous. We spent a lot of time at her place. I was so happy back then. I don't have parents, so I lived with my grandma, but she was more than enough. She was strong, funny in a crude way, lively, and a straight-up badass. I was 17 when she passed, and I moved in with her and her mom. I was devastated, but they were very inviting. My relationship with Lisa grew. It was amazing. They helped me through it. Lisa was my rock. It was the three of us since until now. Every day was similar after our high school graduation. Her mom would drop Lisa off at university, and then her mom, let's call her Jen, writing her mom over and over in this rant will be weird. Jen and I would go to work. We work on the same street, and then we'd leave at 5 p.m. and go home. Lisa would be home by then ate dinner together. It was like that for the past 2 years. I know for some that sounds boring, but I enjoy stability. I was happy and we were saving up money for our own place, a good place. Jen never asked for rent, but she always took it because she knows how important it is to me that I contribute. Lisa and I were my family. I was going to marry Lisa and Jen was my best friend. I know it's weird that my best friend is my ex-girlfriend's mom. I found out she was cheating on me last month. She accidentally sent me a text that was clearly meant for him. I was devastated and started crying. It was unbearable. Jen heard me. I showed her my phone and she just held me. Lisa came home and instead of apologizing or making an excuse, she said with venom, "I have a new and better man, pack up." It repeats in my head most days. Jen snapped there, was screaming and swearing. Jen ended up telling Lisa she had 30 minutes to pack up. I just hid in the office and locked the door. I just couldn't handle it. I was paralyzed in that one spot. Lisa left about 2 hours later. Jen held me and said, "This is your home for as long as you want it. If you want to move, I'll miss you, but you'll still be family. If you want, you can stay forever." Being told that really helped me feel safe and took away some of my nerves. Sometime when I wasn't around, Lisa and her dad came by to pick up her stuff. Lisa and Jen have had a couple major fights, but Jen made it so I happened to never be around for most of them. Lisa and her friends are giving me a hard time, sending hurtful messages, and I just don't know how to deal with that. Lisa has been switching between calling me a loser for living with Jen and asking me for a second chance. I'm never getting back together with her. I don't love her anymore. I have succeeded in avoiding any one-on-ones with Lisa, but I'm eventually going to have to talk to her. Lisa has been living with her dad. He has tried to mediate, but that was not accepted by me. Jen's stance is whether I live here or not, her daughter is not invited to live at home. Her actions are disgusting, and she needs severe and permanent consequences. She told me that she still loves Lisa, but not the person she has become. I want to continue to live here for the time being. I sleep in the old office, which is now my room, and our old room is now the study. It's the only home I've ever had, and Jen is my best friend. A lot of people in my life think I'm responsible for Lisa being kicked out. That's what got me questioning myself. Did I take her home away? Am I the a-hole if I continue to live with my ex's mom? Sorry for ranting in my grammar, and I left out chunks because I'm still struggling or just missed it. Sorry it's so long. Let's get some opinions from the community, shall we? First up, not the a-hole. Live with Jen. She views you as her child. I'm 99% sure of that. And she basically adopted you when your grandmother passed. She already told you to her you are family and you can stay. Your staying or leaving doesn't change her position on Lisa, so no, you didn't take Lisa's home from her. Lisa took her home from herself when she cheated. All you moving out will do is hurt you both, you and Jen, in the long run. She wants you to stay, and your home is with her, it sounds like. Seems to me you're overthinking it. Next opinion. Not the a-hole. And it's quite beautiful to see actual human beings supporting each other based on merit and not what some rely on and call unconditional love, usually based off of DNA. This woman clearly was going to take advantage of you and wreck your life, but your guardian angel stepped in and didn't allow her love for her own daughter to cloud her judgment of the situation. She only did to her what Lisa was going to try to do to you. It's living karma, and I'm here for it. Congratulations on finding a real solid family in her. Never let go or take it for granted, and I would say my condolences, but it's actually her loss, so here's the rest of your life. Update. Hi, I'm male 22, made a post a while ago asking if I was an a-hole for living with my ex-girlfriend's mom after she kicked my ex out. Most of the info was in my first post, but to recap, my ex-girlfriend, 22 female, I called her Lisa in my last post, she cheated on me and then said some cruel stuff, and her mom, I called her Jen, kicked her out. Her mom, Jen, said I was welcome to live here for as long as I want. I took the breakup hard. We were 13 when we started dating, and when I was 17, my grandma passed. I went to live with Lisa and Jen, and this house has been my home. I loved Lisa with everything I had, and Jen had become a mother figure for me. This was the first house I lived in, and I lived here longer than any other place, so I call this place home. Jen choosing to let me stay meant the world to me. After the breakup, Lisa and her former friends relentlessly attacked me and blamed me for Lisa being kicked out, and it became overwhelming. Being told that over and over convinced me that I was at fault, but writing everything down helped, and I received some DMs that helped a lot. Now for the actual update. A lot has happened. A few days after my post, Lisa came by. We talked to just the two of us for the first time since she was kicked out. She started off by apologizing, but immediately tried to shift the blame on me and then her mom, then asked if she could have a second chance. I said no, and then she asked if I was sleeping with her mom, and I said no, that she is the only person I've ever been intimate with, and that Jen was basically my mom. Then she said, "So you're still in love with me?" with a smugness that drove me insane. I remember exactly what I told her. I don't love you. The second I found out you cheated on me, it disappeared, and that I would rather drink 3 liters of elephant piss every day for the rest of my life before I would get back together with her. She slapped me and then went to the backyard and had it out with Jen. She said some of the most vile things I've ever heard in my life, and I won't write it down, and I definitely won't speak it to her mom. It was disturbing. Then Jen, in a very calm voice, said that she was no longer her daughter and told her she was trespassing and to get out. Lisa looked shocked and then stormed off. The second Lisa left, Jen had a meltdown. It lasted for hours. I was pissed off at Lisa. She confided in me that she hates her daughter now and doesn't want a relationship with her anymore. She started going to therapy and told me around 2 weeks ago that she is disowning Lisa and it's what's best for her own mental health. That her therapist said she can still love her daughter and not want anything to do with her. I've been supporting her the best I can. I like being helpful. Lisa made less and less attempts to contact me. She is living with her dad. 5 days ago, I got a text from Lisa's best friend. Let's call her Kate. She was one of the few of Lisa's friends who didn't harass me and actually picked me in the breakup. We've talked a few times since the breakup to console me. She asked if she could come by with some of Lisa's friends so they can apologize. I was apprehensive, but this woman is a straight shooter and I was curious. So they came by and Kate said, "Thank you for letting them come over." Then the other 3 women each took turns apologizing to me. Then they apologized to Jen for everything, then dropped a bomb. They didn't know she was cheating. Apparently Lisa has been telling people that she only cheated because I was sleeping with her mom, and that's why she was kicked out. I asked why they thought I would ever do something like that, and why are they apologizing now? They said it was easier to think I was a cheater than their best friend was a lying cunt. Their words, not mine. They told me they had cut her out. I must have looked like I didn't believe them, so they all showed me their text messages from Lisa and their social media. It seemed really important to them that I believed them, and yeah, they definitely did. They were not gentle about it, to say the least. I accepted their apology mostly. They all left but Kate. Kate and Jen went to the backyard. I don't know what they talked about, but they were both smiling when they came back. I thanked Kate for setting them straight and being on my side throughout the breakup. She said she was just following her moral compass. I'm doing much better now, and I don't plan on moving out until the time is right for Jen and me. Jen has become my best friend and we support each other. I have a routine I follow that really helps. Also, I started sleeping better. I mostly just wrote this because it helps me clear my mind. I skipped a lot, and sorry for my spelling. You didn't do anything wrong here. Lisa's choices and the way she handled them are what caused all of this, not you staying in a place that's been your home for years. Jen clearly cares about you like family, and it sounds like you've both been there for each other, through a lot. Also, the fact that Lisa was spreading lies about you to cover her own actions really just shows how deep her denial goes. It's good her old friends finally realized the truth, even if it took them a while, and apologized. That kind of closure is rare, but honestly, keep focusing on your peace. You've built a safe, stable home with Jen, and you deserve to enjoy it without guilt. Lisa made her bed, and now she gets to lie in it, somewhere else. Could you stay living in your ex's childhood home, knowing it'd haunt them forever? What would you do? Up next, a disappearing act gone wrong. I, 21 female, suspect that I might be my boyfriend, 29 male, of 2 years' side chick. Some details. Tim and I have been together for 2 years. We are both foreigners living in Europe. Names have been changed. Tim is a very private person in general, and so maybe some of the strangeness stems from that. In order to explain everything, I think I have to start at the very beginning. Tim and I met at an event for native English speakers after each of us having lived here for a year. We hit it off immediately. Later that week, we went to a pub crawl with other people from the event and hooked up. Only a few days later, we decided to meet up again. But when trying to decide if it'd be at my place or his, he told me it has to be mine, and he'll explain why later. For the record, I do not live in an ideal situation to be having people, much less men, over. And he was completely aware of the situation. He came over and told me that he is currently still living with his ex-girlfriend of about 3 months. He had his own room and everything, but because he had prepaid for 6 months of rent to lend her some money, he was staying there. Okay, so yeah, I know this is weird, but who am I to judge? He says they are definitely broken up and I'm just sleeping with the guy right now, so whatever. A few weeks go by, and we decide to start dating exclusively, and officially he says he's just living with his ex, who we'll name Stephanie, temporarily for another 3 months, and then he'll find another place. Alright, so it's a weird situation, but I trust him, and he'll leave in 3 months. He complains about having to live with her, and says it's uncomfortable. He also told me why they broke up, which was because he caught her cheating on him with her ex at a party. So, I'm not worried about them getting back together. I'm not 100% comfortable with the situation, but it's manageable. A few months pass, and Tim doesn't move out. He says he's now got his own little apartment in the same house, but that it's so much better for him to stay there because he doesn't have to buy any furniture and the rent is cheap. Remember, we're foreigners, so buying a ton of furniture that you're just going to have to sell when you leave is annoying. He eventually starts saying that he's going to bring me over there to show me that they're living separately and whatnot. Long story short, that never happens. Every time I asked him to ask her about it, he'd say that she'd get upset and blah blah blah. Apparently, she was aware that he had a girlfriend, but didn't like it and wanted to get back together. After a year, he finally moved out. Not into his own place, but into the spare room at his buddy's house. I had been to his buddy's place before, only once though, and that has been the one and only time I've ever met one of his non-mutual friends, which is suspicious and strange on its own. I didn't help with the move, not for lack of trying, so no, I never saw him move his stuff there. Again, this was a temporary solution until he found a place of his own. Through various circumstances, company being bought out which led to job insecurity, him being extremely picky about finding an apartment, he has still yet to move into a new place of his own. It's been about 10 months since he moved into his buddy's place, and I've yet to be there, even though I've asked many times. He always said yes, but then later says that he doesn't want to intrude or be a nuisance, etc. So essentially, I've never seen where he lives. Those things, along with me never having met his friends or Skyped with his family, are the underlying basis for my suspicion. But here's where the real stuff comes. Last night, when I couldn't sleep, I went Facebook stalking. I searched for tagged photos of Tim because I know he's weird about his Facebook and doesn't let tagged pictures and posts show up on his wall. While going through the pictures, I found 3 pictures of him while he was visiting home over the summer. In each of the 3 pictures, there is a girl who is untagged and sitting next to Tim. In 2 of the 3 pictures, his arm is around her, but the pictures are more posed and everyone's arms are around each other. 2 of the pictures are with friends, so I figured she's a friend from home. No big deal. In 1 picture though, they're with his sister and her husband and daughter, so a much more intimate picture. I do not know what Stephanie looks like, and she doesn't have Facebook. I can't find a picture of her through Googling, but I think this girl might be her. I don't know exactly why I think that, but I do. I did some more Google research and found Stephanie's grandmother's obituary. She died in January. So after Tim would have moved out of the house, and definitely after they should have been broken up. And yet, on the obituary, his name is listed next to Stephanie's as members of the family. I do know that he was close to the grandmother and that she left him stuff in her will, but still, I'm suspicious. If what I suspect is true, that means that he was able to hide this from me and her for 2 years, which is honestly just impressive. Right now, though, I'm stuck. I don't want to bring up my relatively weak evidence with him until I can be sure, because he'll just have an excuse and I'll just accept it because I want to trust him and be with him. I don't know how to get any more proof that the girl in the picture is Stephanie, or how to know for sure one way or the other. So that's where I'd like advice. I'm not going to break up with him without knowing 100% because I honestly do love him, but I don't know how I can know 100%. Any advice or help is appreciated, although please be constructive. Too long didn't read. Together for 2 years. Strange behavior and circumstances makes me suspicious. Found pictures on Facebook of him with a girl. Can't prove whether the girl is his ex or not. Looking for advice. Ask for advice, and here it comes. How long have they been seeing each other? We see each other at least twice a week, usually more, and he spends the night almost every weekend. A deleted account says, "That's an awful lot of time to spend away from home with a mistress. You mentioned that you were 2 hours away from their old apartment. What would allow him to be away for so long so regularly? His job? Is he still that far away after moving out? Do you ever do anything in his area? Or are you always in your area?" There's a lot of suggestive hookups for Reddit to latch onto here, but there's not a ton of meat within your posts to come to an absolute conclusion. The OP says, "Their old apartment is only about a 40-minute drive away. However, because I don't have a car, I'd have to get there using public transport, and because it's in the middle of nowhere, it'd take me about 2 hours to get there. The new apartment is only a 20-minute drive and much closer to where he works. He does not travel for work that often, and when he does, it's usually only for a night or two during the week. We mostly stick to doing things around where I am because I live nearer to the city where there are actual things to do. Plus, like I said, getting to around where his friends are is an annoyance with public transportation, and drinking and driving is definitely a no-go." Does he cancel plans a lot? Yes, he cancels and comes late quite often. I don't know exactly where the new apartment is. I know the village it's in, but not the address. As I said before, I've never really met any of his friends, except for one of them one time. Honestly, I don't think you need any more proof here. Everything about this is just shady. 2 years together, and you've never seen where he lives, never met his friends, and now he's randomly showing up in family obituaries next to his ex? Come on. Even if he isn't cheating, he's clearly hiding something. Update. 1st of November 2015, 6 weeks later. So, it's been a while. The story was developing, and I didn't want to update without knowing anything for sure. I never expected a post to get so much attention, and minus the few comments and PMs about being a slut, I really appreciate all of the input everyone had, and I read every single comment and message. So first off, thanks to everyone. As many people suggest that I do, I started with a conversation with Tim, where I made very, very clear how much the whole situation bothered me and why it was an issue for me. I tried to show him things from my perspective and tried to make him understand why I was so upset. He said he understood and apologized profusely. He cried and I cried. He said it was never his intention to hurt me and that he hadn't realized that this had been such a large issue for me and that he had been selfish about it. He said it was all going to change and that I would meet his friends and see where he was staying and to get Skype with his family, etc., etc. He said I was the most important part of his life here and that he can't imagine his life without me in it. He said he wants to find an apartment for us to live together and that when I'm done with school, he wants to go back home together for good. He also told me that the girl in the pictures was an old family friend and that he was in the obituary because he's still close with the family and they still wish I was part of the family. I decided to wait and see if he actually held up his end of things this time, and so we made up and all was well. What I didn't mention is that during my snooping phase before this conversation, I found the phone number to the landline where Stephanie lives and I decided to give it a call asking for Tim. Stephanie's dad answered, and when I asked for Tim, he told me to call his cell phone because this was the landline, so not exactly helpful. Before you guys freak out about the dad thing, the house is like a duplex where the parents live their own half and Stephanie has her own half. This is not uncommon in small villages here. A couple of days after Tim and I talked, he texted me asking if I had called Stephanie's house asking for him. I decided not to lie and admitted it. He said that she texted him saying that some girl with an accent had called the house looking for him, and he immediately thought it must have been me. I explained that I did it because I felt desperate for answers and just wanted to know what was going on. I also told him that it was inconclusive. He got very upset and said I had betrayed his trust and that I was acting like an insane person. He isn't exactly wrong about that part, but I explained that I felt forced to take such actions because I felt like I was never going to get any answers any other way. I apologized for the invasion of privacy and for bothering Stephanie and her family. After a few days, he calmed down and forgave me, saying, however, that this may push back me meeting his friends because he told them what happened and they were pissed that I would treat him that way. I waited a few weeks to see if anything would change, and unsurprisingly, it did not. So, this past weekend, he got very drunk one night and I was able to open his phone with fingerprint while he was sleeping. I found texts from Stephanie from the day before talking about what they should make for dinner that night. He told me he was out of town for work that night. I found lots of hearts and I love yous, and even him using the same pet names for her as he does for me. He told her he was going out of town this weekend for work and how much he'd miss her. I looked through the past few weeks of messages between them and saw that he had sent her quite a few of the same pictures that he had sent me. He had invited her to have a glass of wine with his buddy and her girlfriend. He picked her up from work multiple times, and there were lots of conversations about who was making dinner that night and what they should eat. I went back and looked for dates where I knew he had slept over with me, and he had always told her he was crashing at a friend's place or out of town for work or something along those lines. I also found a group text message titled Family that included Tim, his sister, his mom, and Stephanie. I looked at the pictures of Stephanie that she had sent him and was able to very obviously see that it was her in these pictures that I found on Facebook. So you guys were right. For the last 2 years, he's been living with her and seeing me on the side, all the while telling me how much he loves and admires me and how we're going to have a future together. I've been duped and taken advantage of, and I feel like a complete idiot because of it. I haven't talked to him yet, but when he comes over later in the week, I plan to tell him that I know everything. I also plan to tell him that he is a complete a-hole. In my ideal conversation, he'd explain to me why he did this and what the F he was thinking during all of this, but I'm pretty sure those are just things that I'll never know or understand. Obviously, I will break up with him. I also plan to contact Stephanie with a letter telling my side of the story. I will give her dates that I know he spent the night with me so that she can cross-check them with dates that he did not come home. I also plan to include a USB stick with pictures of Tim and me from the last 2 years and screenshots of some of our conversations from the last couple months. I can't make her believe me, but I want to at least do my best for her. I feel that I owe her as a fellow human being to let her know what kind of a man she's been with for the last 4 years. I am open to absolutely any advice on my plan and how to move forward from this. I won't lie, I feel so lost and helpless right now. By breaking up with Tim, I'm losing a huge part of my life in this country, and I'm definitely going to be feeling this hole for a whole while. So any help is appreciated. Thank you guys for listening, and sorry this is a long AF. I got carried away. Too long didn't read. Y'all were right. He's a lying, cheating a-hole. I found texts on his phone that Tim is still with Stephanie and that they live together. It was her in the pictures from when he went home in the summer. I'm going to break up with him and tell her about me. Any help or advice is greatly appreciated. Update 2, November 8th, 2015. Again, I'd like to start off this post with a thank you to everyone who responded with constructive and helpful advice. I read every comment, reply, and PM. So, I took your advice and did not try to have a confrontation with Tim. I realized that since he was so successfully able to manipulate me for 2 years, having one last conversation with him was bound to end up with me doubting my findings and perhaps my sanity. I wrote Stephanie a 3-page letter detailing the relationship that Tim and I have had over the past 2 years, making clear that it was serious and not just a fling. I mentioned dates and events that most people would not have known about, and I included the intricate lies and backstory that he had told me. I included a list of dates from the last 2 months that he spent the night with me, and encouraged her to cross-check them with nights that he wasn't at home. I printed out a few photos of us as a quick visible proof, and I included the rest of these photos on a USB stick in the letter. The stick also contained screenshots of any particularly incriminating conversations that we've had over the last few months. I scanned the postcards that he had sent me from various vacations and included those as well. For safe measure, I also included a copy of the letter in case the hard copy went somehow mysteriously missing. I gave her my email address and phone number and asked her to contact me if she wanted to. On Wednesday night, I had someone drive me to where she lives. If Tim was there, I would just have confirmations that he actually lives there and wouldn't leave. If he wasn't there, I'd ring the doorbell and hand her the letter personally. We drove the 45 minutes and Tim was sitting there in the living room on his laptop. It was obvious he lived there. She was nowhere to be seen. His and her names were on the mailbox. I called to see if he'd pick up and he ignored the call. We headed back home. On Thursday morning, I mailed the letter. I ensured that it was registered post. In order to receive the letter, she'd have to show her ID and sign for it. On Friday, the letter arrived. She was not home, so she received a notification to go pick up the letter at the post office. On Saturday morning, she picked it up and I got an email of the receipt with her signature on it. Throughout all of this, I conversed normally with Tim and made excuses as to why he couldn't come over during the week, so as to not tip him off to anything. He stopped talking to me about 20 minutes after she picked up the letter Saturday morning, and I have not heard from him since. He has, however, defriended me and my family on Facebook. I have not heard from Stephanie either. So now it's really over. I hope with my whole heart that he was not able to lie and manipulate his way out of the situation with her, but I will probably never know. I do not expect to hear from him again. I feel very lonely, taken advantage of, and beaten down. I'm going to do my best to try to come out of this situation without trust issues and without being cynical and jaded. I'm seeking therapy to make sure I don't slip into depression. For now, I need to find ways to distract myself and fill up any free time. Thanks again for all your help, r/relationships. This really sucks, but I'll get through it and hopefully be a stronger person for it. Too long, didn't read. Sent Stephanie the letter. Haven't heard from Tim since she received it. He defriended me on Facebook. Don't expect to know any of the outcome or ever hear from him again. Quick edit. I forgot to mention that I'm going to go get tested on Tuesday to be safe. Obviously, if anything comes out of that, I'll do my best to notify both of them. He clearly had no problem lying to your face for 2 whole years. He wasn't suddenly going to turn honest just because you caught him. His silence after Stephanie got your letter says it all. He got caught, and now he's running for cover. It makes total sense that you're feeling pretty wrecked right now. You invested a lot in this guy, and it's brutal realizing he was playing you the whole time. At what point would you have walked away in this situation? When the excuses started piling up, or after finding the proof? Let us know below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.